Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Charvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Charvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. But guess what? Heard all across the world wide web. We are tickled pink to have you joining us here today for another phenomenal show. And listen, I got to tell you about today's show. You want to put your seatbelts on. You want to keep it locked right here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. My first guest is hanging out with me in the virtual green room right now. We're going to be chatting it up first with Beverly Jones. Oh, my goodness. Best-selling author, life coach, trainer, keynote speaker, here today to talk about her newest book release, Manifesting the Life You Want, Prime Directives for Abundant Living. And you know what? I think this is going to be like life class. I think y'all need to definitely stay around. Listen, manifesting the life you want has been described as putting your affirmations on speed dial. Yeah. We're going to talk all about that. So we're excited to have Beverly hanging out with us in the virtual studio. And listen, I got to mention, she's a wife, she's a mom, one of IBM's top performers for 30 years, and Hewlett Packard for over 10 years. Over a decade, so certainly somebody well-versed and well-established. So that's our first segment. And then, listen, our second segment, brand spanking new, hot off the presses. We have a brand new segment we're bringing you called Our Point of View. I'm really excited to have Bishop Richard Groover, who's joining me as my co-host, as my guest, in the second segment coming up in the halfway through the show. So you want to keep it right there. Listen, it's a little bit of a departure from my normal show format, but that segment is going to feature hot topics, current events, news, advice. And listen, I already got some advice coming in from Facebook, so we're going to tackle that. Thank you, listeners, for responding. So that's going to be a fun segment, just a hodgepodge of things. So keep it locked right here. Listen, if you're on Twitter, follow me, twitter.com/Charvette. If you're on Facebook, follow me, facebook.com/Charvette. Big shout out to all of those that are listening in on the phone lines, of those that are coming in from Twitter, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Charvette.com, and certainly from my mobile app. We're glad to have you. So listen, we're moving right on in now. I'm bringing up to the mic right now Beverly Jones, again, brand new book, Manifesting the Life You Want, Prime Directives for Abundant Living. Beverly, welcome to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It's too cool.
Cool. I love it. Oh, my goodness. So let's jump in. Tell us, certainly extensive experience with IBM and Hewlett Packard. Tell us a little bit about your experience with those organizations.
Well, I was with IBM for 29 years. And during that time, actually, I started out in administration, and decided this didn't make enough money for me. So I looked around the company, and I wound up becoming what they called a troubleshooter for software. It actually helped me because I'm a science and geek, but so it helped me with that, and I was able to make a career at that. And I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and raised in that area, and then they brought me to Texas to become an instructor, and I started teaching people how to do all that stuff I was doing previously. Left there, took a buyout I couldn't refuse, and went to work for Hewlett Packard, basically doing the same thing, just with different software.
Wow, so phenomenal.
Yes, yeah. So I retired from them in 2007, and, my life changed.
And so how did you get into life coaching and deciding to write a book and all that good stuff?
Well, when I came out, my girlfriend, I didn't know how many of your audience have heard of the book called The Secret.
Yes.
She made me read that book. I mean, I wasn't going to read it. It was like, oh, it's about that stuff called the law of attraction. You know that stuff doesn't work. And she said, read the book. In fact, she sat me down and made me read the book. And I read until I saw the words law of attraction. She said, keep reading. And I'm so glad she made me do that, because what happened was my world changed. And based on what they said, and then I went and watched the movie, and I said, well, there must be something to this. And naturally, with that analytical mind and researching mind of mine, I just went to work doing the research and just found different things and wound up being trained in coaching, trained in using your mind. So I was trained in this process called the One Command. I was trained by Jose Silva's organization in how to use your mind better, how your brain actually works, and why you are stuck at times and you can't move forward because your subconscious is telling you you can't. And as much as you try and you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and you try to force it, it doesn't happen because your subconscious said, no, baby, this is the way it is. And so you want to try that? Go ahead and try it. But guess what? I'm going to have you do something to stop you from doing it because you know you can't do that. That's kind of how your brain works. Your subconscious works with you.
Wow. And so you definitely, with your life coaching and seminars and all of that, you help people apply certain techniques to their lives so that they can see real change, and that real change is mental and physical.
Yes, absolutely. Because until you actually make the change mentally, especially down deep into your subconscious, nothing is going to change. And many people have said, well, I keep trying, and it always winds up the same way. So we have to change, really, your mental state. And when you do that, you're actually changing physically, because the change goes all the way down to your DNA. What has been found is that your emotions, your thoughts, everything that is about you is stored in your DNA. And until you get it changed at that level, very little will change in your life.
My goodness. And you say I like how you put it in your book, the deep in the recesses of your mind. So that's deep down. That's deep down. That's deep down. Right there. So certainly, I love another thing that you talk about and that you mention is that the mental programming that we all have, and that you empower people to neutralize the negative voice that they may hear in their mental programming. And I think you used specific words, because you didn't say necessarily get rid of it, but you said neutralize the negative voice. Talk a little bit about that. Well,
what happens is I take my clients through a process of how does it feel when you're happy? And your listeners can do this right now. Think about something that you absolutely love. I mean, it is, or a person that you love. And think about them, and I want you to just tap your knee a little bit. One knee, left leg or right leg, but tap your knee. And make that feel good to you, how it feels. Then think of something, stop tapping, and think of something that angers you, that upsets you. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you have this feeling inside of your body. Well, if you tap that knee in a different spot and you're thinking of that negative, then you've got that feeling is going to transfer there. But if you start thinking about the person you love while you're tapping the knee, what will happen in the process as we go through that is that it will neutralize that feeling of anger. You might not like what that person did, but that emotional attachment will change. And I take people through a process like that to help them neutralize it. The other piece is looking at the incident or the item that you're dealing with from a different perspective. So many times we say that person did that to me. They did that to me. In reality, they didn't. They did it to themselves. It's all about them. It's not about you. So when we start talking about the incident, then we start looking at it from the other poor person's point of view. And a lot of times we realize that it really wasn't because of us, but it was because of what that person inside was feeling.
Oh, boy. I am telling you what, listeners, you are getting some live life coaching right now on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're chatting up with Beverly Jones, best-selling author, life coach, trainer, and keynote speaker. Brand new book, latest release, Manifesting the Life You Want, Prime Directive for Abundant Living. Beverly, while they're listening, how can they get a hold of your book?
They can get my book on Amazon. It's available there, or Barnes and Noble. Or you can go to your bookstore and they can order it in for you. But it's available everywhere books are sold.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned before that the book has been described as putting your affirmations on speed dial. So I assume that there are several affirmations within the book?
Oh, tons of them. There are, because I've structured the book that we're going to cover about 6 areas. Some is dealing with trust, abundance and wealth, your health. So we're covering affirmations that we want to do in those areas, but I no longer call them affirmations inside the book. They're called directives. So there's a difference. So a prime directive is one of the techniques that I teach in the book. It's how to actually access your subconscious mind directly through meditation. And when you do this and you go through the process, what happens is your subconscious says, oh, you want that? Okay, we're going to figure out a way for that to happen. And then the law of attraction actually goes to work for you, because now you've changed your mind. One of the examples is you want $10,000 in your checking account, and you're saying affirmations saying, I've got $10,000 in my checking account, and you only have $250. Your subconscious is going to say, no, thank you. You know, as well as emotionally, you know that it's not there. Well, what happens is when you use the command, which is basically I command that I have no need to know how I have $10,000 in the bank. That's true. You don't. But you're still asking for it to happen. Or the house that you're dreaming about, or the car that you're dreaming about, or that new job that you're dreaming about. You put it within the structure of the process, and it changes for you. Because the reason we have to do affirmations hundreds of times every day is that it's trying to get to the subconscious mind to say, okay, go to work. This is what I want. And it's trying to get there, but your conscious mind is saying, you don't have $10,000 in the bank. I don't know why you keep saying that. Or, you don't have that great job. So why you keep saying that, right? But the idea was to bore yourself silly by saying those affirmations 100 and some, that technically it's 108 times a day.
108 times a day.
108 times a day, and hopefully you do it multiple times a day. That's when you're doing affirmations and saying them over and over again. Because they tell you, look in the mirror and say it. Say it in the morning. Put a sticker on in your car and say it multiple times. It's trying to bore you so much that you get to your subconscious mind. That's technically what's trying to happen when you use affirmation.
All right.
So why not
That's
use
the
the
scoop
easy
on
way?
that. So why don't do it the easy way? Okay, so you're saying it does not. You don't necessarily have to do 108 times.
No, if you use the process in a meditative state, you can move your conscious mind out of the way, get to your subconscious, and train it. Like reprogram it for the things that you want. You can reprogram it to say that I am great and glorious and I am a child of God, because a lot of people don't believe that deep down inside. So you do that, and you can get your subconscious to start working for you instead of against you.
All right. Well said. And so how does faith play a role? Your book does reference faith specifically. How does faith play a role in all of this?
It goes back to if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. When you truly believe, and I say when you truly believe that the scriptures say when it says, ask and it's given to you, or as you have believed, let it be done to you. If you truly believe that, then you can make change in your life. But if you have doubts, if you just say, yeah, I know it says that, but all these years I've been doing this and it didn't happen, or it didn't do this and it didn't happen, then your faith is low. So one of the things I do talk about on my blog and my books is the idea that you start with something small, even if you ask for a cup of coffee from a stranger, and watch it happen. Because Scripture says whatever you ask for, it's yours. We just don't notice it most of the time.
Whoa. All right. Thank you, Beverly, for that reminder about our faith and applying that as well with all of this. Again, listeners, the book is Manifesting the Life You Want, Prime Directives for Abundant Living. So, Beverly, within the book, there are 4 established techniques that you have. Can you talk a little bit about those, or just kind of high level describe those 4 techniques?
Okay. Well, the first technique, which I've already mentioned, is called the Prime Directive. And the Prime Directive is the command that I issued. I command I have no need to know, or I command that I do know within a meditative state. Another one is just when you are, when I'm out and about and there's something I see, I have the rule that I don't look at price tags. I see something that I like. Wouldn't it be nice if I was able, or I love the idea of being able to have this at a price I'm willing to pay? It also helps to move that I can't afford this, I can't have this. And I have a bag that I really would love to have, but it was not in the price range I wanted to pay. But I did find a bag that was similar to that. And here in Dallas, we have a place called Sam Moon's that every female loves. And it had a bag that was an exact knockoff of the Jimmy Choo bag that I found. So I said, hey, I was able to get something that I wanted at a price that I was willing to pay. The other one I talk about is a thing called the spiritual sanctuary. So you're going into a meditative state. You are creating a mental sanctuary. So you've got a mental church. You've got a mental, and I say synagogue, a mental place of reverence that you go to be in the anteroom of God and just give him what you want. A lot of times we pray and we're really not in a state. We're in a state of worry. We're in a state of confusion. We're in a state of just panic sometimes. And going there, you relax and you know that your prayer will be answered. So that's the spiritual sanctuary. And I also talk about a thing called the prayerful meditation, which is a form of being in the spiritual sanctuary. And the fourth one is called the mental video, and that was one that was created by a gentleman by the name of Jose Silva. I found that the technique works, and it's really you make a mental video of the way you want things to be in the future. So I give an example of my son and I didn't have a very good relationship. And I turned around and I said, how do I want this relationship to look? How do I want it to be? And so I made a mental video. And actually it was for us to have lunch or a meal on a regular basis. I created the mental video and I went to sleep with that mental video and idea in my mind. And part of that is what will it look like when you have it? That's one of the things I talk about. You ask for something, but what will it look like when you have it? And so I made a mental picture of what would say that I have this relationship with my son. One day, and he lives downtown to Dallas, I would catch the train into Dallas, and we were sitting there having lunch, and this feeling of deja vu overcame me, and it was the mental video that I had done to say that I had what I wanted.
Wow. All right. The four established techniques that have worked. What's interesting, I saw a quote in your book that may be a hard pill for some of us to swallow, but your book says people you previously spent time with who are not on the same path as you will no longer be relevant in your world. Listeners, let me say that again. People you previously spent time with who are not on the same path as you will no longer be relevant in your world. Didn't say you didn't like them, didn't say you fell out. They will no longer be relevant in your world. How does someone reconcile that?
What happens, it will happen naturally, and here's why. So you hang out with the group, and let's say you're on the path of self-development, you're on the path of living your life the right way, whatever you quote say the right way is, but you're making changes. And they don't want to make those changes. And I know sometimes you'll hear, I don't know why you want to do that. Who you think you're going to be better than us? I mean, they may not say it out loud, but their actions will do that. And you say, well, I'm going to do this. I need to go hang with Charlotte because Charlotte is going back to college. And I'm going back to college. And so you hang with Charlotte for a while. You didn't ignore your friends. You still hang out with them on Friday night. And then you meet someone else who's on the same path as you or is, I won't say above you, but is where you want to go. And you start hanging out with them for a while. And then all of a sudden what will happen is your friends will say, or former friends, or still your friends, where you been? I haven't seen you. You haven't been with us in a while. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let's plan on getting together, next week or something. But you're busy becoming the person that you want to become. You're going and dealing with people who are uplifting to you, who are not stuck in their stuff and saying, this is the way things will always be. No, they aren't. But you just naturally will gravitate when you're serious about changing your life. You start doing the things that will make your life better, and you start hanging out with the people whose lives are already better or they're on the way. So that's how that works.
All right. Excellent guidance and advice there. Just things will naturally take place. You don't have to have a falling out or any of that.
I said no, and you can still be friends. But what may happen is they end the friendship. Because that's happened. They end the friendship because you're in a space they aren't, or you make them feel bad because they aren't. So again, it's not about you if they disappear. It's about them.
It's about them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you what, Beverly Jones, best-selling author, life coach, trainer, keynote speaker, a new book, Manifesting the Life You Want, Prime Directives, for Abundant Living. Again, Beverly, tell them where they can connect with you online and also pick up a copy of your book.
Okay, you can connect with me at commandingyourlife.com. That's commandingyourlife.com. And especially for your listeners, if they say gifts, GIFTS, commandingyourlife.com, I've got a free preview of the book for them out there. I've got a meditation out there for them, and I've got another book that I studied as I was learning all the things that I've learned, and I've given them that too. So that's gift.commandingyourlife.com. And the book, Manifesting. Yes.
My goodness. Listen, listeners, you need to put your hands together. Woohoo! All of these good nuggets. So listen, I don't want anyone to say, wait a minute, I didn't get that. Give that link to them one more time.
It's GIFT, GIFTS. I believe there's an S. If there's no S, drop it off. Gifts.commandingyourlife.com.
All right. Thank you.
Gift without the S, GIFT. Gift.commandingyourlife.com.
All right, there you go.
And they can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter, all with Beverly Feld Jones or Commanding Your Life.
Perfect. And I have tagged in Facebook. I have also tagged in Twitter a couple times. So those are easy connection points if you're following me on Twitter, twitter.com/Charvette, facebook.com/Charvette, easy connection points. All right. Well, my last question for you as we wrap up, the goal of my show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate you.
Helping people. I want people to be able to use the gifts that God gave them. The issue has been we haven't been taught them. Every day I am totally amazed every time I use what I teach you because I get answers and that's what continues to motivate me. Every time I get a Facebook hit private message or a tweet from someone, it motivates me to keep going.
All right. Phenomenal. Well, it has been great having you here on the show. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, that's a wrap for the first segment. Listen, we are moving into our second segment. My co-host / guest is hanging out in the virtual green room. Bishop Richard Groover is joining me in a brand new, spanking new segment called Our Point of View. Yeah, a little bit of a departure from my normal show format, but we're going to be talking about current events, advice, hot topics, just what's going on in the world. And so don't you move. We're going to be right back after this quick commercial break.
It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Charvette will be back after this.
Spiritual Food for Thought, 31 inspirational quotes to jumpstart your day by LaTanya Boyd, consists of inspirational messages that offer daily words of empowerment, promote spiritual growth and development in the Lord Jesus Christ for your day-to-day living. Spiritual Food for Thought, 31 inspirational quotes to jumpstart your day. Available now on Kindle, ebook, and paperback. Log on to www.latboyd.com.
Hello, we are 123jobzone.com, an online job search portal. We are user-friendly, and if you're searching for a job, with us, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Go to www.123jobzone.com and register as a job seeker. Step 2. Once registered, upload your resumes. Step 3. Get connected with employers looking for people like you who are ready and willing to work. Don't forget to follow 123 Job Zone on Twitter and Facebook to find out more about our upcoming job fairs. What are you waiting for? Stop by 123jobzone.com today. Good luck with your job search. Are you starting a new business, releasing a CD, writing a new book? Consider Mitchell Productions for your web design services. Visit www.mitchell-productions.com for portfolio samples, specials, and package prices. Remember, a website is not a luxury item. It's a necessity. Check out mitchell-productions.com or find them at facebook.com/Mitchell Productions.
She's here to motivate, excite, and influence you. She's Charvette Mitchell. It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show with in-depth interviews from today's leading authors, gospel artists, stars that you want to know about. And now, Charvette Mitchell.
All right, welcome back again to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Super excited to have all of you joining us here OMG. Thank you for those that are hanging out on the phone lines. We see you, those that are coming in from Twitter, from Facebook, from Charvette.com, from my mobile app, and certainly from all of our broadcast stations. Listen, we're moving right on in to the new segment, this new segment that I am calling Our Point of View. And so listen, my co-host slash guest slash co-host slash guest, Bishop Richard A. Groover, is hanging out with me right now. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I am doing much better now that I'm on the Charvette Mitchell show.
How about that? Oh, my goodness. So this new segment is kind of cool. I've been calling it a slight departure from my normal kind of interview format, but we're just going to chat about hot topics and current events and what's going on Facebook and advice people may have. And so certainly I know, Bishop Richard, you're just going to give it from your point of view, and I'm going to give stuff from my point of view, right?
Word up.
Word up. All right, so that's our disclaimer. This is our point of view, and that's what it is. And actually, I got some questions from Facebook, but I got to tell you what happened to me today.
Okay.
So I was going to a cafeteria-style place to eat, and there was a chicken special. And I asked the cafeteria worker, is it white meat? Does it come with white meat or dark meat? And she gave me a blank stare.
Wow.
So she didn't know what the difference was between the white meat and the dark meat.
Oh, have mercy.
They don't teach this stuff in school no more.
Wow. Jeez. I thought they would teach that during orientation.
Right. So I posted it on my Facebook because I was like, they don't. This is stuff like if you work, I think, in a food services industry, you probably should know the differences. But anyway, so another thing about things they don't teach in school anymore, that new math. What you know, and I know you have children, so don't they do math differently now?
They do, and I've caused my children to fail all kind of math tests trying to help them. Because I'm doing it old school, and it just messes them all up, and they come home with this, look at this, Dad. You know, you thought you was helping me, and now they got an F, you know. So I left them with this math alone. I'm not even going to fool with math.
Like, when did when did the technique change? Like, at what point do you know when it changed?
I don't know. All I know is like when my oldest daughter started going to school and she was telling me how she was getting her answers, I'm like, nah, you're doing it all wrong. So I don't know when it changed. I really don't.
And so this is, let me tell you an impact of this new math. So one of my friends has a daughter who works in at a local fast food restaurant. And so a gentleman came up and ordered his food. She rung it up, and he pulled out, say the food was $9.60. Let's just say it was $9.60. And he pulled out a $10 bill. She puts in $10. And, of course, the system is going to tell them, you know, you're going to give him back 40 cents. Well, he pulled out a dime and added the dime and gave her a $10 bill and a dime. And she had already put in the 10, so she was struggling with, why is he giving me a dime? And I don't know on the fly how to figure out what change to give them. I think that new math has messed up the kids.
Yeah. I mean, old math got some people messed up too, so.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is, because I've been to many places and you give them change and they just they don't know, they just throw it in the drawer and take your word for it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of stuff they're
right.
not teaching people, period. I mean, even at the DMV, they don't give out DMV driver's manuals no more. It's online and there's some stuff missing. Like real simple stuff, like when a light turns green, that means you got to go. That means go. You know, and so now you see people when the light turn green, they sitting there and they checking their cell phone, they looking around like all the people behind them ain't got no place they got to be. You know?
Okay. So since we're talking about school, I saw you post on your Facebook that your son made it onto the football team?
Yes. Big shout out to my son, Lil Richard. Well, Big Richard. He's bigger than me now. But yeah.
So are you one of those fathers that is like on the sideline, hollering, screaming, you punching people? Is that you?
No. That's me. That's not me. And funny you should mention that because one of the things that I noticed, because I was always active in my children's education. I went to the PTA meetings, parent-teachers conference, plays. I did all that stuff, pop up at their school, looking through their door, making sure they're behaving right. I did all of that stuff. And throughout the years, I've seen very minimal participation from fathers. And you can tell when the father was made to come. The wife made them come to the parent-teacher conference. But when my son started playing football, that's when I seen all of the fathers pop up out of woodworks. Fathers I ain't seen the whole time my kids be in school. I seen them at football practice. Oh yeah, they there, and they even have to have security at the games to keep the fathers off the field because we get serious about that. And when my son was trying out, I even seen one father. He had two sons trying out, and he looked at them both, and I kid you not, this is not a joke. He looked at them with that father face and said, "Y'all better make the team." And that messed me up because I'm like, what if they don't make the team?
Right.
How does because most of them boys want their father to be proud of them. What happens if I don't make the team?
And so that he's put all of that, like all of their self-worth, really into making this football team. Yeah, and so that's crazy. And so that's not. In fact, my son's team, they won like one game the whole season last year. But I went to every game, and at the end of every game, I was like, "Hey, man, good job. You did good." Even though they lost, you did good, man. And so. Because it still teaches sportsmanship and social skill. Yeah, it's enough pressure in life to have. And I wonder if that father is transferring what he maybe felt from his parent. Yeah. And not only that, but you got these guys, they know this is high school, and I went to a meeting last night at my son's school where the coaches told the parents, listen, if you get approached by a recruiter, please let your child get their education. Don't be so quick to sign them off because, these guys watch games. They watch football is a big thing. Sports is a big thing. And a lot of parents or fathers are into it. And so they want to see their son on the field playing for the Giants or playing for the Cowboys. That's a big moment, which rightly so it is. But they had to sit down and literally tell us, please let your child finish their education. So this is interesting because this is high school. I wonder if the directive or that advice is different if they're in college. I wonder, because I'm kind of thinking if my child has made it, hypothetically, I don't have a child that's a male that's going off to college, but I'm thinking, and this is my opinion, my point of view, if my child made it to college and a recruiter is looking at them like to play for the Redskins, I know they say get an education, but I'm leaning towards him going ahead and going to play ball for money. That's where I'm leaning. It could be wrong. I could be wrong. It's different because at the college level, those players are adults. And so at the high school level, they're children, and so they can't do nothing without our signature. So they're just trying to influence the parents. Don't sign no paperwork. Let them get their education. Now, at the college level, parent can't stop them. All right. There you go. Hey, if you just tuned in, hey there, you're checking out our point of view here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show with my co-host, Bishop Richard Groover. All right, so in the news, Wendy Williams, and you don't seem like a guy that watches Wendy Williams. Do you watch Wendy Williams? No, not really. I've seen the show before. Okay. Well, she fell off a stage at a gig in Houston. She's okay. She's all right. Wow. She fell off a stage at a gig in Houston. Now, she has a show that comes on, and she talks about like P. Diddy fell through the floor at one of the BET Awards, and so she talked about it like a dog. But so she knows people are going to talk about it. She's okay. But I know you are a preacher. Have you ever like fallen off of a pulpit or almost fell? No.
I'm not. You know, when you preach at a church that have like multiple steps, before I take a step down, you know, that's a real. I gotta focus because you know,
right.
A tumble, you can't like jump up from a tumble, especially at my age. You know, I'm not old, but you know, when you in your once you get past like 20, you don't just jump up like nothing happened. So I often wonder about that with these preachers. They just like jump down steps and skip over steps. No, I can't do that. No.
And so I was wondering, fear of falling. So I was wondering,
did she fall forward or backwards?
She said, okay, so the video, listeners, the video is like all over Facebook and YouTube. You could go to YouTube and find it. Probably just put in Wendy Williams falling. It was like she fell, I could hardly even tell. It was like she fell to the side. Or she fell, it was like she fell to the, I know. It was like she fell to the, she was like prancing across the stage. And then she just went down. She didn't like fall forward. It was, I don't know what, it was almost like she fell to the side. So she didn't fall forward and like hit her face, but it was like she fell to the side. But I started thinking, because I was like, okay, we're going to be talking about on the show, the fear of falling. Like, that's got to be, in my mind, I was thinking that's like the number one fear people have.
Well, I've seen Wendy Williams before, and if she fell, I don't think she would fall on her face, even if she fell forward.
Yeah, she probably made sure she fell to the side. But, listen, I went online because I was curious as to if the fear of falling is actually like the top phobia, and guess what I found out? It is not.
No, I thought
What did you think, the top phobia? What did you think?
Speaking in public, public speaking.
So I went to this website called fearof.net. Fearof.net had the top 100 phobias, and fear of falling was number 29 out of 100. So it was pretty far down the list. Number one was fear of spiders.
Spiders?
And that was 48% women and 12% men. But that was the number one phobia.
Hold up, 48% women?
And 12% men.
12% men? Them numbers don't add up. Somebody lying.
Listen, and that's on the website. I just caught that.
Some men ain't telling the truth. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you know what? I just caught it because I literally copied it from the website.
I'm not scared of spiders, depending on the size. When they big enough that you can see their eyeballs, and no, it's time to go. It's time to go.
Listen, I ain't messing with no spiders. You know what? Fearof.net, and I'm on there, and you're right. It's the numbers don't add up. But anyway, so we're going to just go with so number two, they said the fear of snakes. And I know if my mother is listening, she's raising her hand saying, yeah. That was number two. Number three was fear of heights. Fear of heights.
Okay.
Top phobias. And I'm just going to do till top five. Top four, the fear of open or crowded spaces.
Okay.
And then number five was the fear of dogs.
Yeah, I think I suffer from that.
The dogs?
I think I suffer from to some degree.
To a certain extent. So public speaking was number 13 on the list.
Wow.
And I thought that would have been higher. Yeah, I thought that would be a little higher. So, again, that came from fearof.net. I don't know if they have any official, how they got those numbers, but that was and they have a top list of 100 phobias. All right, so what's going on in your world today? What did you see on social media? Any cool articles, any of that?
I saw two cool articles. The first cool article I saw was just looking through my Facebook, what you call that stuff?
Timeline, there
you go. When you look through the timeline, I saw some people posting pictures of food that they have cooked or somebody that they know cooked. And
okay.
I just feel like before you post pictures of your food, maybe you ought to get a second opinion. because sometimes when we cook our food, we think our food is the bomb, and we think because our baby cooked the food, the baby that is the bomb. But you need to like show that picture to a stranger and ask them what do they think, because we don't know how it tasted. Only thing we going by is how it look.
Right.
Sometimes the food that I see posted don't quite look edible. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, look, if you would just show that picture to somebody and say, look, would you eat this? And if they say no, then don't post it. And if they say, oh, that looks good, then you can post it, because then everybody on your page will be like, oh, man, that looks good. Give me a plate. But when it's not like that, you hyped up about this plate of spaghetti, and you only get like 2 likes, and that's you and your mama. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just I saw that in my timeline. I saw that's one thing. The second thing I saw on my timeline is something that I love, and that's food. I saw an article about the 9 tastiest soul food spots in the U.S. The 9 tastiest soul food spots in the U.S. You want me to list them?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. First one, I don't know if this is in any order or not. First one is called Amy Ruth's in New York City. It's in Harlem, so I'm going to check that out next time I go up to Harlem, which is my hometown. The next one is
Boogie Down. Oh, no, that's Boogie Down Bronx. I said the wrong hoop up. Okay.
Check out this next one. It's called Dookie's Chase Restaurant. It's in New Orleans. Now, I don't doubt that the food is good, but I don't know about restaurants called Dookie.
Yeah. Right.
Eagles Restaurant, Birmingham, Alabama. Martha Lou's Kitchen, Charleston, South Carolina. Motor City Soul Food, of course, that's in Detroit. Miss White's Golden Rule Cafe, Phoenix. I didn't know they had soul food in Phoenix, so I'm going to have to catch
Phoenix,
that.
Who would have thought?
I didn't know that soul food was in Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't know we went that far. But check this out.
Yeah, we do.
The next one is one that I had an opportunity to visit last time I was out in L.A., Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I'm telling you, that's the bomb. You need to check it out.
Now, is the hype really, like, can I just make some waffles at home and put some fried chicken on top? Like, what makes that so special?
I don't think so. Because the chicken is good. It's not like the chicken is good and it's seasoned and it's flavorful. It's not like getting chicken and waffles from IHOP.
Okay.
It was real good. The waffles, and I'm not a waffle eater, and the waffles was good. I ate the whole waffle. Okay. In Houston is a place called This Is It, and that chicken looks very good.
Oh, wow. And our last guest, Beverly Jones, in our first segment, she was from Houston, so we could have her validate that for us.
Yeah, all these people can, like, pay me to go to all 9 of these places, and I go validate everything.
Okay, so you could get your own, like, traveling show, like, on HGTV.
HDTV or BT.
No, I said the wrong. No, you want to be on the Food Network. That would be the Food Network. Okay, yeah, Food Network. Yeah. Food Network, if you're listening, how you doing? But what somebody was telling me with the Food Network, you have to go get, if you want to have a show on the Food Network, you have to go get funding. You go get your own funding, get your own backing, shoot it and all that, and then you come to them. It's not like you go to them and then they help you put it all together. Somebody was telling me that.
I tried to get I introduced or I sent the Food Network idea for a TV show, and they responded. It took a while, but they responded. They was very thorough, and they said that it's like any other talk show. You have to get the funding and sort of like do a couple of shows and then try to sell it to the network. So they're not just going to take your idea and spend their money and time. You got to do it and do a couple shows and let them see it and let them see that there's a market for it, for the program you're trying to deliver.
All right, there you have it. Did you cover all 9 places?
I covered all 9, and none of them was in my city, so I guess
none of them was in my area either. All right, Virginia, we still have hope. Okay, so Bishop, we did receive 2 questions for advice, requesting advice. So let's go ahead and jump in and tackle that. If you just tuned in, hey there, you're listening to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, and this segment is Our Point of View. My co-host here is Bishop Richard Groover. All right, so the first question that came in from Katrina on Facebook. Thank you so much for your question, Katrina. What are the signs to stop putting effort into a business? So her question, and she wants our advice from our opinion. What are the signs to stop putting effort into a business? I'm going to tackle that first, and then I'll toss the ball over to you, Bishop. Okay, so my response to that is, number one, you are your first sign. So do you still enjoy what it is that the business entails, whether that's making jewelry, whether that's making potato salad, whether you are a coach for women, all over the world, whether you have a brick and mortar location, whatever it is, do you still enjoy it? If you don't enjoy the business anymore, I think that is one sign, because yes, there are times that ebb and flow where you have a lot of work to do, and I'm a business owner. Shameless plug, Mitchell Productions Web Design. So yeah, sometimes you have a lot of business, a lot of stuff to do, and so but there still should be a place where a part of the business where it brings joy to you. So that's number one, I would say, to look at if you still enjoy it. If you don't, that could be one of the signs. The other thing is it profitable? Are you making profit from it? Now, depending on the business, you may have, and you just started, you may have a longer ramp-up time for you before you see profit. But you have to kind of gauge how much effort, how long you've been doing this, and then if you still aren't seeing any kind of profit in it, then number one, if you still enjoy it, maybe this needs to be a nonprofit and not actually a business. And then the other thing I would say, and then again, I'm tossing it over to you, Bishop, as far as what are the signs to stop putting effort into a business, is it destroying any part of your life or your family? So if the amount of time and energy that you're putting into it, if it's destroying another area of your life that in the end it really means a lot to you, then that's a sign that you may want to stop putting effort into that business. So that's my advice from my point of view.
Okay. Well, my first advice is piggybacking off what you said, because nobody goes into business to fail. Nobody goes into business not to make money. The purpose of business is to make money. So the number one sign is if you are not making money. And when I say you're not making money, I'm saying if you are not making a dime, then because you might not, the first 5 years are the roughest parts of a business, and so you might not see a profit the first 5 years. But ain't no sense of going 5 years if the first year you ain't made a dime. The little bell that goes off when you open the door, if that only goes off when you come and go, then chances are you might want to wrap that up. Second thing is, if you do make sales, what is the volume of your returns and refunds? So if you make $10,000 a day, but $9,599 come back in refunds and returns, you might want to determine whether or not you're in the right business, which leads to my last one is if you really need to make sure whether or not there's a market for what you're providing. Being a business major, one of the things they teach you is to do your homework before you put money into it. Is there a market? How many people? Who is your target market? Are you in the right location? And so sometimes it could be the matter of location. So you might need to close down because you're in the wrong location and maybe open up in another location. But the market is what drives everything. And so if there's not a market for what it is you're trying to provide, whether you're passionate about it or not, if there's no market for it, you're not going to make no money.
All right. There you go. Thanks for your question. All right. Next question. This is about parenting. And relationships are tied together. All right, so this is, so this is Sheree from Ohio, and she says, I've been divorced from my husband for 5 years, and we have one daughter together, and she's 10 years old. He gets her on weekends pretty consistently and all of that. He has now started dating someone. This is the first time he has openly dated someone else since our divorce, and it has brought up a lot of emotions that I didn't even know were there. So she goes on to say, she goes on to say, in addition, I don't want her, and that's in quotation marks, I guess the new girlfriend, hanging out with my daughter doing the mommy thing. And this is her question, can or should I demand that she not be around my daughter? I'm going to let you take that first.
Well, the first bit of information, the first piece of advice I got for her is, it might sound a little rough around the edges, but to get straight to the point, the first thing she got to do is get over it. All right, y'all, you and your ex, y'all not together no more. Both of y'all need to move on, and so you've got to get over the fact that one of the things that I had to do from experience, my father told me, he said, if you don't want another man telling your daughter what time to go to bed and what time to wake up, then you need to work it out. And so if not, when you separate from somebody and you decide you want to get a divorce, you forfeit that right to call the shots about who your ex brings in or out of their life. You forfeit that. And hopefully they're in a position to where they can make a right choice. The second thing is, not only do you have to get over it, the second thing is, if you're not willing, you can't put that expectation on him if you're not going to take your same advice. So if you don't want his girlfriends or nobody he dates or he's interested in to be around his child, then that means you're going to do the same thing. It's not fair for you to decide to have somebody around your daughter, but you don't want him around, him to have anybody around your daughter. And then lastly, I will say to the father is that another thing I've learned from experience is don't date or bring nobody around your children until your children are ready. Don't try to be big and bad and I want you to see daddy is moved on and that he's happy. If you got to pay attention to that child. They not ready to see nobody around, don't do it because that's going to mess them up. It's going to mess your relationship up.
Wow. So a couple things. So she's 10. The little girl is 10 years old. So I'm just wondering, and if it's been 5 years since the divorce, and this is the first, she said, openly dating. So maybe that means he maybe dated others, but this is, I guess, the first one that he's taken to cookouts and taken around family and stuff like that. I think it feels like 5 years is reasonable. If it was 5 months, maybe that would feel extreme. I feel like his actions are, if this is 5 years, I feel like that's reasonable. And then on a flip note, I can understand from her standpoint as a woman that she doesn't want another woman kind of playing mommy, to her. So I think that to get to her question, can or should I demand that she not be around her? As you said, it's really hard for her to kind of call shots in his household, but I do think she probably could maybe give him some recommendations or give him some guidelines. And so one thing is if he really is feeling serious about the girlfriend, hopefully he's only bringing around serious girls. And I get the sense that if this is the first openly one after 5 years, that it looks like he has done that. He has only brought around this person and that she must be serious. So I think that's the thing where people get tripped up is if you bring around your child around someone, and then 6 months later you're going on to Sue, and then 6 months later you're going on to Tamika, and then 6 months later you're going on to Shaniqua, then that confuses the child. So as long as that's not going on, I don't think she can really make demands on him. So Sheree in Ohio, hopefully that helped. Woo! Good advice, Bishop. Good advice. All right, so listen, we're going to do this segment again. What you think?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so listeners, we're going to do this segment again. It was fun just kind of hanging out, shooting the breeze. If you have questions for either of us, you can reach out to us. So certainly you can reach out to Charvette.com, my contact page. You can inbox me on Facebook. You can DM me on Twitter, all those good connection points. And Bishop, would you like to let them know how they can get in contact with you?
Facebook. You just put my name up there, Bishop Groover. I'm probably the only one. And you can contact me, inbox me.
Inbox. And I have tagged him on Facebook and also Twitter. I've tagged him in both places, so those are connection points. And I definitely got to let you give a shout-out for your church. Give a shout-out.
Kingdom Life Ministries International, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Woo, woo.
Woohoo! So if you're going to the beach, check them out, check them out, check them out, check them out. All right, listen, that's a wrap. That is a wrap for this segment of Our Point of View. Listeners, it has been great having you. Any final thoughts, Bishop?
I enjoyed myself. Can't wait to do it.
Listen, yes, we were glad to have you, and yes, we do absolutely have to do this again. So, as always, listeners, if you have someone you think, oh, man, they should have heard this segment, no problem at all. Just send them over to Charvette.com, and from there they can check out any part of the show. And then until we meet again, it's a wrap. See you later. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you have been listening to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Connect with her at Charvette.com. And until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. The Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Signing off.